What's good, traders? Welcome to the first episode of the podcast where real traders have real conversation. I'm JD Trades. I've been trading for a little over almost 7 years now. I've been living off of it for almost 4 years, I guess now it would be. And here with me, I have Antzz, which is a trader in my Discord. I'll let him introduce himself really quick.
Hi everybody, I'm Ants. I've been trading for about 3 years now, going on 3 years, like 2.5. Not profitable, but on my way there, hopefully.
All right. Just to get a better overview of my guests here, we're just going to be asking him a few questions here. How long have you been trading, my friend?
So I started trading in July of 2023. So yeah, about 2.5 years now. I got into it from a buddy at work actually. It showed me.
Okay, okay. And what do you trade? You trade futures?
Yeah, ES and NQ.
Do you trade Forex at all?
No, I never really got into Forex. I kind of looked into it when I first got into trading, but I don't know, the whole lot sizes and like seems like there's a lot more slippage. It's just future seems a lot more simpler from what I've seen.
Yeah, futures is much cleaner in my opinion than Forex. Forex is a little more on the wild side when it comes to calculating your lot size and all that stuff. So you said your buddy made you start trading. What exactly made you start trading from your buddy? Was he trading already, or did he talking to you about it? Maybe the idea of
Yeah, so
financial freedom.
I was working at Panda Express actually. I'm 25 right now, by the way. So at this point, I was 22, I think. 22 working at Panda, and I have a buddy that I made working there at Panda, and he starts talking to me about like, hey, this internet money stuff, we can do this trading thing. It's all about, you go in, basically, it's like gambling, like it's fun. And I'm like, at first, I kind of just didn't pay him no mind because he's just one of those guys that is always looking for a side hustle, and he's always throwing out these crazy ideas that,
Mm-hmm.
they never really amount to anything. But he kept trying to get me into it for about a month, and then he invited me to this trading Discord that he was in, where I met some really cool people in there. Um, and then I started, yeah, I kind of bought into it. I was like, you know what, let's try it. Like, I'm seeing all these YouTubers make millions of dollars in minutes, the glorified part
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
trading. That all started hitting my feed. Seeing all the cars, all the money,
Yeah.
oh, I made 10,000 in 5 minutes. I'm like, what the hell? Like, that looks so easy. All he did was buy it and it just instantly went his way. But, you come to learn very quickly that it's not that easy.
Yeah, exactly. That's always what kind of gets people going into the trading world, where it's like all the showboating and the easy money and the $1 million a month with 30 minutes of work per day and just like
Yeah.
that kind of
Who's
stuff.
JR?
Yeah, exactly. And also the gambling slash, let's say, dopamine aspect of it, right? Like you get a little dopamine
Yeah.
hit, your trade hits, you're all happy and stuff, and then you're ecstatic. But they never talk about when you lose for a week or for two,
Yeah.
3 weeks, and your bank account's going down, and you're like, shit. But yeah, no, I could even fun fact, I don't think I've ever talked about this on this channel, but even when I first started trading, I mean, I've talked about it broadly, but I was in it for to make like money fast. Like I remember I had like 1,000 or 2,000 in an account when I first started, and my only goal, I was trading at dude, zero strategy, right? I was trading at midnight every single day, and it was just I would look for like a minute at like what it was doing, and I would be like, yeah, this shit looks bullish, and I would just press long or short, and as soon as I hit $100 profit, I would close out of it, market close. So there was no TP, no SL, nothing. It was $100 a day, and I was like, I could live my life like this, forever. And I ended up losing it all in one day, and it was great. But yeah, it's just all part of the
It's
learning
funny.
curve.
What's funny is I was the same way. So when it comes to like when it came to starting to actually trade, I started with Apex through I was trading with Rhythmic on Ninja Trader,
Okay.
and I didn't even know what a strategy was. I had no sense of didn't know anything about risk to reward, strategy, nothing like that. I watched one video, I remember. It was a candlestick chart guide on how to read like an individual
Mm-hmm.
candlestick. It's like, oh, this, bullish hammer, that means the price is going up. And then, the doji, the red doji means it's going down. And I took that, and I remember I back tested for probably only 1 or 2 days, going like 10 contracts deep anytime I saw a doji one way or another. and then I would just pull out as soon as I was at like 150 bucks, which with 10 minis is like a point. And
Yeah.
it's so easy, like no way, 100% hit rate. I'm like, how, what are the odds it's going to go all the way against me before I get 1 point? And so after that second, 2, 3 days back testing, I start buying accounts, and then I'm like, well, shoot, why isn't it working anymore? It's just, how it goes.
Yeah, the thing about trading that I've come to find out, like as I get older, is so I'm 26 years old. I don't know if people knew about that. I started trading when I was like 19. And it's everybody thinks they're geniuses when they're trading. And the truth is that it's because we all think, why is nobody like at some point we're all gonna think, why has nobody done this before? This is so free. Like
Yeah.
you think you've discovered, like you think you reinvented the wheel, and you're like, dude, this shit's so free. People are idiots, and then you do it, and it ends up biting you in the ass. But yeah, yeah, no, I know, bro. And honestly, the messed up part is that, let's say for me, it was working for like a month. Issue is that when it doesn't work, it blows the whole
Yeah.
month of progress, right? Like it just sweeps it all away. But dude, that is fucking funny, honestly. And you know what? I feel like 99% of people will have this happen to them in their trading journey. And if it hasn't happened yet, it will. Like I feel like it's part of the human
100%.
kind of wiring in our brains where, we just have to kind of like step away from that, but we do have to experience it to and manage to step away. And there's traders that never manage to step away from that too.
Yeah. Yep.
So where would you say you are? You say you're not profitable quite yet. I had read in your thing that you had 5 XFAs and that you were trading those
Yeah, so I've got 550Ks with Top Step right now. To kind
past
of go back
accounts.
and yes,
Mm.
yes, past accounts. To kind of recap like how I got here. So my first month of trading actually went good, like the very first month, because I was just gambling these accounts thinking like going for like 2, 3 points at a time, full porting. And I passed my first eval within the first week, and I was just like, I'm a god, like this is it. I just found a money printer, and then blew that PA within the first week, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
it's all right, I'll get more. And then it kind of just snowballs into you buying account after account after account.
and blowing
So
it
that's kind of where I was at for, I'd say, probably the first year of trading was just purely gambling, probably the first 6 months. And then after that half a year or so, I started learning about strategies and like risk to reward. And I started getting into ICT, but I was like, this is just too much. Like this is way too complicated. There's got to be an easier way. So you start looking for that easier way, and I find a scalping strategy, scalping ES on the 2000 tick chart, for 2 points. Every entry, my take profit was 2 points. I would risk like 3 points. And then I did find some decent success with that. I actually got my first payout right around a year trading using that strategy. Um, but then it's I still had gambled that account once or twice and just ended up lucky on that PA. But I remember that first payout, man. There's no feeling like it. Like
just
you don't
no
care that
better
you
feeling.
gambled.
Yeah, no,
You
just
don't care that you did things you shouldn't have. But I remember this was recently after I had just moved out of my parents, and I'm living with my girlfriend at the time. And we live on top of our landlord, so they have like a duplex. It's like bottom house, top house, and we have the top house.
okay.
And it was a 2 bedroom, just us. So we had our room, and then I had kind of like an office. And I'm sitting in there that morning before she goes to work, and I remember she walked in as I was in the trade, like the last trade to get to the payout threshold, and it hit right as she walked in. I stood up and I just pointed at the screen, and I was just broke down crying. I was like, I did it! Like I finally did it after so many lost accounts, just so many late nights trying to trade Asia, London, and then New York in the morning. I was like, Alyssa, I finally did it. I just broke down crying, and then I blew the account the next day, and before the money could even hit my account, even so, I didn't even see that money. So
Oh,
that was super tough. And then that my whole second year is when I really kind of started to lock in. I kept trading the tick chart though. I was like, ICT is just not for me. And in that second year, I managed to get 3 more payouts. That's what I had switched to take profit at the time because Apex was just having all kinds of connection issues. I got 3 payouts that were semi-consistent. They were still like I'd gambled once or twice here, and none of those accounts lasted more than a week after the payout. But that's kind of where I started to I think the second year for me was where it sucks because you get good enough to a point where you see how possible it is, like it's right there, but you after 2 years you also start to get that feeling like, well, man, like maybe I can't do it. I've been doing this so long, I've gone through
Yeah.
so many accounts, but it's just, you know, it's so possible, and knowing it's so possible and not being able to do it, that's the most frustrating part, that I think it makes or breaks you.
Yeah, the thing about trading is that it's so like elusive, where like it always seems like it's within your reach and within your grasp, but you can't quite get a hold on it. And that's on I've been through the exact same thing, right? And here's the funny part about this is that I was profitable and I was living off of it before the prop firm era. And then the prop firm era came to fruition. And the thing about prop firms is that the rules are made to make money off of you, right?
Yeah.
And so the way I was trading at the time was almost impossible to be sustainable on a prop firm because obviously you have rules that you need to follow, trailing drawdown, whatever, right? And at that point, I was more of a swing trader really than a day trader. Like
Mhm.
I was day trading sometimes, but it was mostly I was mostly doing forex and stuff because futures trading firms are banned in Canada for live accounts. I don't know if you knew.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you need a forex broker, and then you could maybe try to trade futures pairs on there. By that I mean like let's say NQ is US 100 in forex, but it's the same chart. And so basically, I started like trying to prop firms, and I my first prop firm I passed. I got a payout that was from Top Step, and then I was like, oh, this is a cool new business idea, where I could have my life, this and that. And the thing is that even with gambling, at some point it's gonna work out, right? So you
Yeah.
can buy prop firm after prop firm after prop firm and gamble it. At some point, you're gonna get a payout. So you don't truly know you're profitable, or you can actually hold, or until you can hold that account for a long period of time, get multiple payouts and stuff like that, right? And
Yeah.
I blew like 3 or 4 accounts after that first payout, and because I didn't know at the time, like it was all new, and I took the payout, I didn't know it would put my minimum account whatever balance at 50K. So I took
Yeah.
the payout and I got the money, but I lost the account in the process. And so I blew like 3 or 4 account, and then I was like, wait, have I lost it? Like I was like, hold on,
Yeah.
I live off this shit, and I can't even be sustainable on the prop firms. And it made me think, it makes you doubt yourself. And the thing is that when you doubt yourself, that's when you're kind of more prone to strategy hop and to maybe tweak
Yeah.
stuff. And it's not good to do that. Adjusting your risk, doing stuff like that is fine, but strategy hopping and kind of do like being more prone to over trading or revenge trading and stuff like that. Like when you start feeling those things, you need to walk away. But the thing is that when your living kind of requires that, like you require some kind of money, um, you are it's another ball game. Like you're way more prone to want to trade more if you need the money, right? Which is why a lot of people they kind of break with trading because they're gonna put all their eggs in that one basket, and then when it doesn't work, they're fucked. And
Oh yeah.
so after that, I started trading my live account again, and then like I started getting back into it, and the swing account as well, and everything was going fine. Then I ended up getting, now I have now all this good, right? It's been good for like 2 years and a half, but there was a 6 month period, like three years and a half ago, where I was like, holy shit, like I had it, and now I've lost it, and like I was freaking out for like 6 months. I was like, holy shit, like I'm gonna have to go back to firefighting and carpentry and all this shit. And like I didn't mind, but I was like, fuck, like I got a taste of the life, and then like I got it taken away from me. So yeah, all that just to say that I completely understand. And getting that first payout, like that first real payout, is different, man. It's a different
Yeah.
feeling. And the thing that nobody talks about, and why I wanted to do the podcast as well, and kind of like everybody makes videos, oh, trade this strategy, you'll make this, oh, do this, you'll do that. But the thing is that you kind of need to hear actual traders talking to each other to learn. I feel like when you watch a video, you understand the basic of it, but when it comes to applying it on the chart, the real important stuff is how you feel. And the thing is that you and me can never have the same exact strategy. because we're two different people. We react
Yeah.
differently, we do things differently, and whether you want it or not, your emotions are going to be involved. And you just have to not kind of give in to them and act as if they were not there, right? But they're still going to be there. So me and you, it might be a little different, but me and you could never have the exact same strategy because
Yeah.
we're different people. But the thing is that everybody watches a 1 million view video and applies it to the chart, and they all think it's gonna work for them, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I always say you need to make a strategy kind of based on how you feel. Like you could be good trading the 15-second chart. I could never just stay on the 15-second chart. It's way too much for me. As a I came up swing trading. So like the 15-second chart and people that trade the 5-second chart, like those people are crazy to me, right? And I could never do that. Whereas you could be a scalper that trades the 1-second chart, and for you, me waiting 3, 4, 5 days to get into a trade is crazy. You can never wait that long.
Yeah.
So I don't remember why I was saying all this. I went on a rant.
It's all good. But to talk about putting all your eggs in one basket, yeah, I think the problem with like, average people that they get into trading, they get into it because I mean, obviously the money, but really what everyone wants is the freedom. No one wants to work,
Yeah.
trading is something everyone just wants the freedom where you could work when you want, make all this money, work what 2, 3 hours a day and you're good. And I think a level of like desperation comes with that. And the problem with trading is the more desperate you are, the worse you're gonna trade
Yeah.
always. And so when I was first into it, and I had just moved out of my parents, I was working just as an Amazon delivery boy, just like driving in the van, making like 18 an hour. I live in California, so that might sound like a lot to people in other states, but I was making 18 an hour. It's not much here. Um, and I was just like, I need trading to work. Like, I'm barely making rent every month. I want money to buy my girlfriend nice things, to go out. So I was so desperate where anytime I took a loss, it was just my answer was full port, send it, make it back. And it wasn't until probably like the middle of my second year where I was like, you know what? This isn't gonna work right now. Like I got realistic because up until that point, I was like, this is gonna work. This is gonna work. This account's the one. This account's the one. As I'm on like my 100th Apex account, and so it finally got to the point where I was like, this isn't gonna work. At least not right now. So I need something better to kind of take some pressure off of this. So I was like, well, I'm already driving. I drive for a living doing Amazon. Let me get my commercial license and, find something that will still leave me room to trade, but I can make a solid living off of. So I did. I went to trucking school. I got my class A. It only took like 2 months. And then at first it was really hard to find a job being young and without any experience trucking. But eventually I get my foot in the door at one place and then I bounce around a couple places because once you get the snowball going with work experience, the offers just come in, especially with something like trucking or any trade. And I eventually ended up at a propane company that's right here by my house. I've been there for about a year now. So that's taken a lot of stress off my trading, and this past year has been my most consistent year of trading, I'll say.
Honestly, that's exactly right. The thing that people don't understand with trading is that when you're trading a prop firm, you're technically trading like $2,000, $3,000, which is
Yeah.
which is fine, But if you do want to like kind of live off of it and live comfortably without stressing, you need to be able to kind of make your weekly expenses in one trade or less.
Yeah.
Like what I usually say is you need to be able to win one trade and lose one trade and still be able to pay your weekly bills. And
Mm-hmm.
this way, even if you don't take a trade this week or you lose, you can always kind of, and you need to have money on the side too. The issue is that with prop firms, it makes it a little more, like a little harder. But if you can, like, kind of keep the ball rolling and you have a good ROI on your evals and stuff and get it, like have 5 evals rolling, have 5 live account, have an account on the side for emergencies, like an actual fiat account with actual money in it, and then you can take your payouts. Even if you don't have a super good month, you can still pay off you're just going to be living less bougie. You can still pay off your stuff. That's when you're ready to go in full time. The issue is that people go in full time before getting any of that, and it's a long process to get all of that, and people underestimate the length that it's going to take them. Sure, it might take you 2 3 years to get profitable, but you have to account for another year of getting 5 evals, passing those evals, building that buffer, getting 5 more evals, getting the ball rolling, having having moving pieces that you can move around, where you have your five accounts, let's say, that give you your payout. You have your five account that you're building a buffer. You have those five other accounts where you're passing the eval, and you kind of need to keep this ball rolling if you're gonna want to have a certain peace of mind, or else every day is gonna be, I have to make money, I have to take a trade, I have to do, like, you should never wake up every single morning and feel like you have to take a trade. You might want to, that's fine. You can want to take a trade, but don't let that influence you to pressing the button, right? Thing is, people will throw all their eggs into the same basket and think, oh, I can go full time in trading. I had a, let's say, 10K month. Okay, but that's because you have five XFAs. What happens if you blow those five XFAs? How fast can you get five XFAs payout ready, buffer ready again? Will you be 1, 2, 3, 4 months without an income? That's so much stress that you just don't need. You need to have, kind of, diversify your portfolio. It's kind of like when you're in stocks. You're not going to put all your money into one stock, and you're not going to put all your money into one crypto or whatever, right? You're going to want to diversify in case something happens. And the same thing goes for trading. Like, that's which is why I have my live, my swing, my five XFAs. I have evals rolling all the time. I'll be honest, right now I don't have any XFAs pass without a buffer. But again, I have a live account. So I'm not too worried about it. I have savings, I have investments, I have other stuff. If you're gonna throw yourself into trading full time, you need to be aware of like stuff like this, and you're not gonna wake up the same day as emotionally stable, or like emotionally stable the same way. There might be something happening. I don't wish this on anybody, but somebody in your family could become ill, or just something that affects your emotional or your mental state, and then you could lose everything so fast with trading that you need to be ready for if something happens. And I feel like people don't really, kind of, they don't think it's that important, but it's probably the most important aspect of becoming a full-time day trader.
Yeah, I think that one of the probably most important concepts that I've learned through this trading journey is that you need to be profitable in real life before you can get profitable in trading. You can't be coming in from a minimum wage job, desperate, just banking it all on you're going to be profitable in trading, because that just puts way too much stress on it. You're going to come in every day so desperate, and once you need to have your life in check outside of trading in order to start a life of trading, I think. And it's taken a
Yeah.
lot of stress off me having a well-paying job, knowing that I don't need payouts to be coming in. And like I said, this has been my most consistent year, having a nice stable job and having money to do what I want without trading.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna be honest. The best, well, not the best, but a good life that you could have is have a full-time job. Let's say that allows you weeks off or whatever, and have trading as like, kind of like a side hustle where it's not as
Mhm.
stressful, and you can pay for vacation expenses, nice dinner with it, and it's still a good life.
Yeah,
People think a 9 to 5 is evil, where it's not. It's if it's not in your life plan, or you absolutely don't want to do it, sure, but you're gonna have to work for that, right? The life
yeah,
is built around the 9 to 5. If you don't want to stick to the 9 to 5 bias, you got to work your ass off. And they say discipline outside of the chart shows up in your trading. And
yes.
so you can't just go wishing upon a star that you're going to become, the best trader in the world and be able to read the charts when you can't even find a job or whatever in your life and try to get your life together. It's
Mhm.
they go hand in hand. And I understand that people want the Lambos and they want stuff like that, but here's the thing: there's not a single person on this planet that has a Lambo that hasn't worked for it, unless they it full poured it into a crypto. But trust me, in 5 years they're gonna have to sell that Lambo. Like, if you want something, you gotta work for it in life, and it sucks to say, but it goes without saying that it's the same thing with trading. People think they can go 1 month, 2 months of studying and make a doctor's salary within a month. Like,
Yeah,
that's, or else doctor. If that was the case, every single doctor would be an idiot. They would
right.
they
Yeah,
would all be idiots. And the truth is, they're some of the smartest people. Like, they're some of the smartest school smart people ever. I'll say, because
yes.
obviously it's one of the hardest profession to get into.
Hmm.
So I have a question for you. Have you ever strategy hopped? And I know you said you were scalping or whatever, but like, let's say in the past year, have you tweaked anything in your strategy?
The first 2 years definitely, because the 2000 tick chart was my main strategy, but I was probably watching at least three strategy videos a week, like thinking that if I had multiple strategies, then I could take a trade whenever. I could find a setup any time of the day with at least one of the strategies. So I'm trying to add to my arsenal to have this huge arsenal of strategies to trade when really I should have been focusing on the one. But my main one was the 2000 tick chart. That's what I passively looked at the chart on. But then if I would take a loss or two losses and I'm getting frustrated, I got to the point where, okay, I'm not going to blindly full port, but I'm going to check the chart on all these other time frames to see if any of the strategies have a setup there. And that's also just not sustainable because then you just take double the losses.
Yeah, no, 100% I agree. The
And then it wasn't until my third year this year, uh, I I had finally got five XFAs. I started out with two combines, copy trading. I got the XFAs, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do one more combine and pass that into XFA, which I did. And then I started copy trading the three XFAs, but I bought two more combines because I'm like, let's just go for max allocation. And then I passed the last two combines, and then I remember I built those three accounts had all been built up to about $1,000 balance, the XFAs, and and then from there it was just like a a landslide. It was crazy. I went on a huge losing streak, and at this point I'm still using the 2000 tick chart strategy, but I'm much more focused on just using that strategy. So I had a huge winning streak. It's actually on my YouTube channel. I do have a channel, and you can see my winning streak when I got those XFAs. It was like a month and a half of straight winning. And then once I got those last two accounts passed and I was copy trading all five, suddenly I just couldn't stop losing. And I remember I got those accounts all the way down to $600 of drawdown left. And I was just like on the verge of full porting, but I was like, you know what? I worked so hard for these. This is the most consistent I've been. Let me just take a month break and I'm just gonna get serious about ICT. And I did. I started learning ICT, and then I was started trading literally just 1 to 2 micros per trade because I only had $600 to draw down. I was fully ready to blow those accounts, but I was like, if I blow them, it's gonna be blowing them following my rules. And now here I am. I've got the two accounts at 2,000. I've got one at 1,000, and then the last two that I had passed are sitting at around 300. So basically break even. But I built those accounts back. I didn't blow them, and they didn't have to get blown. And now I see that.
Well, there you go. Perfect, exactly. See, so holding back on the over leveraging might have just saved you all your five or your XFAs and months of work.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
the thing about ICT that I always say is that he overcomplicates it a lot, and I find a lot of his terms mean the same thing. I always say take two or three of his terms, learn them, perfect them, and stick to them. Like let's say for you with for value gaps, for another guy's order blocks, for another guy's whatever.
Mhm.
Like just find one or two of those keywords that he uses all the time and stick to those and kind of build your strategy around it if you do want to trade ICT. Because if you start overcomplicating trading, the issue is that it gets impossible. Either you're overthinking your trade and then you miss a winning trade. So what do you do the next trade? You enter faster, but then if that trade loses, then you start overthinking again, and then it kind of creates this never ending cycle of just being scared and being impatient, right?
Yeah, and when I say ICT, I mean ICT concepts because I tried studying the ICT at Michael himself, but I mean yeah he just kind of overcomplicates it. He has like all these mentorships where really who I learned my strategy from was Justin Werlane. I trade his forever model is what I trade pretty
Okay.
strictly. So it's I wait for a FVG, I line it up with a smaller time frame when we dip into it, and I wait for the change in the state, and then I just enter on change in the state, and that's how I found success.
Well, there you go. See, fair value gap changes the state. It's exactly that's all you need. And honestly, I will say I am a fan of Justin Werling. I have watched his stuff 3 4 years ago. I kind of I kind of like I was already living off of it, but I kind of was still watching his things to kind of see what he was doing. See, because in trading you could always improve, right? And the
Yeah.
markets will change a little bit as you go, depending on the month, the year, the seasonality, whatever, whatever. And so I was kind of looking at how he was doing things and how I was doing things and how I could better myself. And he was the one that I was actually looking at to do that. So, I do recommend Jesse Rolina's Tactical Traders Group.
Oh yeah, he's a great videos to watch if you haven't seen him for
Oh
sure.
yeah, he's most definitely one of the better traders out there, and he's actually probably one of the only, I'll say, gurus that I do believe is actually profitable and actually knows how to trade. And obviously, I don't know
Yeah,
the guy,
there's a lot.
but
The more I think the more you come to understand trading, the easier it is to spot these fake gurus. You know, you see a
hmm
YouTube short of this dude that says complete nonsense, and he just made like $10,000, where you just know it's a sim account. But Justin, you can kind of tell that. At least I'd like to believe he's genuinely authentic when
yeah,
he
yeah,
does
same.
trade.
I actually, fun fact. So I post TikTok sometimes here and there, and they get around, let's say, three, four, five, 1,000 views, somewhere around there. And I landed on a video of a guy with 20K likes. So I don't know how many views he had, but he had 20K likes on the video, and it was a trade that he enters with like a 1 to 90 like RR, and it even has the two arrows of chart replay on trading view. When you go
Oh,
chart
okay.
replay, there's like the two arrows next
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
contract size. It has that on the chart, and it hits, and it's like a million something, right? Because he entered like with 9,000 contracts or something, and
yeah.
everybody in the comments is like, "Teach me, teach me, teach me." And I'm just like, "Are you guys dumb?" I'm like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "I'm getting 300 views. This guy had 20K likes on that dumbass video." I was like, "Oh my god!" He didn't even try. He didn't try to Photoshop the thing. He didn't try to like do like he didn't. He wasn't even trying, bro. It's plain sight trading chart replay.
Yeah, there's definitely some people that their whole brand is fake trading. I'm not gonna say no names, but you can tell, I think, when you've been trading long enough.
Oh yeah, you
And
can.
I think when you've seen enough of the real traders, when you watch Justin, when you watch shout out to Diego Barrera. I don't know if you watch him, but he's a
No.
small YouTuber that he actually trades, records his trades live. And once you see those guys and you realize like it's not just winning all the time and it's not huge profits all the time, you kind of come to learn who's real, who's fake.
So I'm kind of curious because I've never asked this question to anyone. But when you first saw me, were you like another one of those fucking fake gurus, or were you like, okay, this guy seems legit?
Hey, you know what? I'm trying to think of the first video I ever saw of yours. It was definitely a short, a YouTube short. It was, I think, when you said you were moving to Costa Rica in a YouTube
Okay.
short. That's the first video I ever saw of you, and I was like, you know what? Let me check this guy out. And then watching your videos, no, you did not strike me at all as fake. I'm like, this guy's really trading. And then I joined the Discord and I was in your lives, and I was like, yeah, okay, this guy is legit. But you did not come off at all as like a fake trader or fake guru.
I'm really trying to like not, right? Because I'm not into the flexing shit, and I know that too. Where like I don't want people to join the Discord because of what I have. I want them to actually, and that's what I was explaining to the Discord too at some point. I think it was like maybe 3 4 months ago, where I was like, if the Discord ever does become paid, don't be scared. You're not gonna pay. If you're there to learn, you're not gonna pay. It's for, I don't want people to join thinking I'm gonna spoon feed them, or I'm gonna like I can't do that for you, and I don't want people to come in the Discord and just like do nothing either. If you're in, I want you to
Yeah,
put in the work. If you put in the work, after a month or two, I'll stop charging you. You know what I mean? Like you've proven yourself. So, but like
yeah.
that's not for now, and that's not for, I don't know when that's gonna be, but I did know that when I started the Discord, I knew that at some point I probably would have to do that. Where it's like if there's like 1,000 people in the Discord and you can barely read anything, and like you can tell people are just messing around. Like, I've been in TJR's Discord like 3 4 years ago, and I was like, if I ever do that, mine's never gonna be like ever 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 like that.
Yeah, I'm
So
sure it's a lot of degens in there for sure.
oh yeah, no, definitely. And it's fine to mess around, right? I mess around all the time when I'm trading, but there's like levels to it where it's like sometimes it's
Yeah,
like, all right, I gotta get serious at some point. Like this is still,
yeah.
you wanna live off of it, you gotta start acting like it.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. When you first started trading, were you overly obsessed with the P&L that you saw on the screen?
Oh yeah, that's all I was looking at. It was P&L, P&L. I would be cool enough, like probably the second year, I could stay cool enough to take a good setup for the first setup of the day. But as soon as I take that first loss and it's red, it's everything's off the table. I'm doing is trying to get back to green.
Oh yeah. When I first started trading, I used to think that a trader making more money was a better trader, where
Yeah.
it's not the case at all. Some guy could be trading with 10 cents in his pocket and be a much better trader than me, as I could be trading with, let's say, $1,000 in my pocket and be much better than a guy trading with a million. The
Yeah.
skill and the money is two completely different things. You need a lot of capital to be able to make trading work.
Yeah, and with
And
me, it was so bad to the point where I'm not looking at like the day's P&L. I'm looking at the account balance. Like, am I at peak balance? And if I'm not at peak balance, then I'm full porting until I am because I'm not gonna sit and draw down at all. Even if it's $50, $100, I'm looking for a setup to full port on just to get back to that peak balance.
oh yeah, or else you feel like you've wasted your day, right?
Yeah, because it kind of feels like a double whammy when you take a loss because, the payout thresholds here, let's say $100 to keep it simple. If you lose $100, not only are you minus $100, but now you're $200 away from the
Yeah.
payout versus when you were $100 away. So it hurts a lot more, and you want to get back to that break even.
Oh yeah, I know exactly how that feels, and that's honestly a really bad feeling to shake.
Yeah, it's really hard.
And dude, I used to trade, and like you said, I used to trade until I was green. And what I used to do is I feel like TJR does that right now. I'm gonna be honest. I'm
He's
not.
kind of losing it. I mean,
I
I
don't
don't
I
know.
don't
He
I don't know
lost a
what he
lot of money.
does. I don't know what he does, but I feel like that's what he does. Where he's gonna take a trade, let's say risking 50K, and if that trade loses, he's gonna risk 100K, and if that trade loses, he's gonna risk 200K, and if that trade loses, he's gonna risk 400K until he gets a winning trade, and then obviously you're in profit if you keep increasing your risk, right?
Yeah.
Like even if you but the thing is that I did that with a $5,000 account, 5,000 USD account, so that's like 7,000 in my currency, and I still remember trading. The thing that sparked it all is I was in a Tim Hortons drive-through, which is basically like a Dunkin' Donut, and I was getting a coffee, and I looked at my girlfriend. I was like, "Watch this! I'm paying for this coffee." And then I opened the MetaTrader app, and I was like, "Bang!" Sniped the trade, lost like $600 instantly, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" So then I opened another trade, same bias, different lot size, like double the lot size, lost like 2K. And I was like, well, my account's down 50%. I have to make it back now. Whole party account, lost everything. I ended up driving, I ordered the coffee. I lost all 5,000 while making my way to the window. And I ended up driving fast and not getting coffee. I'm not getting this fucking
That's rough.
coffee.
Yeah, I probably put myself when I was working at Amazon trying to trade and just, throwing all my eggs in that basket. I went a solid $3,000 or $4,000 into debt buying accounts because I was buying 2, 3 accounts a day, just gambling them. And then with Apex, you buy the account and then you need the activation fee, which at the time the activation fee used to be like $120. They've lowered it a lot, but it used to be 120 lifetime or 80 monthly. So I was probably, yeah, right around $4,000 in credit card debt. And, my parents would ask me like, "Oh, how's trading going?" I would just lie to them. I'd be
Yeah,
like, it's going good.
it's
I'm
great.
still learning. It's good. There were days where, I'm up trading before my girlfriend wakes up. I just spent $300 on accounts. She wakes up, asks me how's it going, and I just have to lie to her. I'm like, "Hey, yeah, I'm good. Look, this account's up." Little does she know it's the fifth account of the day.
Yeah, and it's
And
devastating to lie to somebody like that because
it's a horrible feeling because you know the truth, you know how bad you're doing, and it's so embarrassing to admit it. And yeah, I lied to my parents, I lied to my girlfriend for a long time before my parents still don't know, so they'll probably watch this. Hi mom, yeah, that $4,000 of credit card debt that was from trading. But I eventually had to tell my girlfriend like, look, dude, I've spent so much money on this, like I'm not doing as all right as I've told you. And luckily I was able to confide in her, and she was like, you know what, just from now on control yourself. But my girlfriend is the only person that has supported me that through the entire thing, even being going on 3 years, she is still like, I know you can do it, I know you're gonna do it, just don't lose control. And she checks me every day. She texts me after she leaves to work. She's like, did you lock out today? Like, what's your P&L looking like? How many trades did you take? And she's really on this journey with me. And if it wasn't for her, I would have quit because there were nights where I'm looking at all the blown accounts after being so close to a payout or so close to passing it. And you're laying in bed crying, thinking about all the money you could have made that day or all the money you lost that day, and you just want to give up. I've been there. I've been super far down, and if it wasn't for having one person in my corner, I probably would have given up. And I would not want to keep lying to everybody and being embarrassed for
dude,
losing so much.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. I'm in the same situation as you, where I'm blessed to have a wonderful girlfriend that's always been on my side. But and I've been with her for 3 years, over 3 years, almost 4 years. So we got together almost basically the second I started living off of it. And dude, it's game changing because when you get into trading, everybody's gonna doubt it, and now you want to prove
Yeah,
those people wrong, and that's horrible in itself. And then when it goes bad, and the thing is that you have to invest in yourself. It's kind of like student loans or whatever, right? And you have to spend money to make money. But sometimes when it doesn't work and people ask you, you don't want to prove them right by being like, oh, it's not working. So you lie, you dig yourself a hole, and it goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and it gets harder and harder to kind of dig yourself out of there. And honestly, I can say with absolute certainty, if I didn't have my girlfriend in that 6 months that I told you where I was struggling with the prop firms, even though I was already living off of it, because even when you get profitable, profitability is a word that I hate, by the way. It means nothing to me. It's do you live off of it right now? Okay, cool. Will you live off of it in 1 year? Who knows what was gonna happen? And so in those 6 months, even though I was already living off of it, I was still scared because it felt like it was slipping away from me. And if I didn't have, and you wake up in the morning and you think to yourself, like after trading, I could have slept in and had a better day. And that's a
yeah,
horrible feeling to feel.
that
It's
sucks. Yeah,
it's terrible, right? You go on about your whole day thinking, I woke up, let's say 2 hours earlier for nothing to lose, right? And you feel like a loser and stuff. And having that one person in your corner kind of not hyping you up, but just letting you know that you're not an absolute failure is everything.
yeah,
Because training will bring you to that point where you feel like you're an absolute failure,
oh
and
yeah,
it's really hard to kind of like live with that feeling, because then when you go to bed, you wake up the next day, you don't even know if you want to wake up to trade. You don't know if you want to keep doing this shit, right? And that's when you have somebody beside you, whether that's your girlfriend, whether that's your mom, it could even be your dog. Honestly, that's just
yeah,
makes you happier, makes you want to wake up. Where it's 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 night and day the difference.
yeah. And I think yeah, you have to be like you have to have some level of insanity in you to keep on going
Yeah,
because it
100%.
sucks, man. Like anyone who's struggling trading knows how bad it is, and it's only the people that are struggling trading that have tried it and really tried it. I mean, not like for a few months and they see it doesn't work and they quit, but the people have been doing it 2, 3, 4 years, and still haven't got a payout. They know how hard it's been, how hard it is. And one thing I really wanted to say to anyone watching this, if you don't have that one person in your life that's telling you it's okay, just keep on going, like just know I'm not profitable yet, but like I said, I was $600 from drawdown. I kept going, kept it small. It is possible, and we all know it's possible. I think
Yeah,
that, like I said, that's what's so frustrating about it is we know how possible it is, and it's just so hard to get there.
yeah,
But I'm letting you know. I'm sure JD will let you guys know it is possible. Just keep on going, and don't tell people you trade. I wish I would have listened
yeah.
to that advice. That's probably the biggest piece of advice I didn't listen to that I wish I did.
Yeah, honestly, don't tell people you trade. And I do want to add to that, if you ever feel down in the dumps, you can always DM me as well, and I'll answer and I'll try to help you guys get through it on Discord or on YouTube or whatever, because I do know how terrible that feeling can be. Um,
Yeah.
on a quick ending note, what would you tell someone stuck right now?
If you're stuck right now, I would say probably just know that it's gonna be okay, and it's so hard, but you have to not care if it works or not. You just have to not care. The most important piece of advice I can give you is make sure you've got a good life outside of trading,
I
because
agree. I agree.
once the stress is off trading, it just makes it a lot more easier. You need to think of it without being profitable. You need to think of trading as a hobby. You can't look at it as a career or as your educational journey, whatever. It is a journey. It's an emotional journey, but you have to look at the actual act of trading as a hobby. And if you're not okay outside of trading, if you just fantasize having these millions of dollars and like you have no life outside of that imaginary life, it's never going to work out for you. So it's really
I
hard. I know how hard it is, but you just have to try to not care.
I 100% agree. I do think that you need to treat trading as a business, but you need to treat it as a business you don't need. You need to treat it as
Yes.
a business that you're building for fun. Let's say you like it, just like if you were building like when you were in high school and you were talking to your buddy like we should start a business. Like and you need to treat it seriously, but also not rely on it, which is a weird kind of like situation, but that's how it is truly. And when you
Yeah,
start thinking of it that way, you'll start realizing what I mean. Like when if that sentence clicks to you, that's good. If it doesn't, it will at some point.
it will. You get to a point where you're either going to quit or you're going to be so sick of losing that you have no choice but to follow all your rules because that's the only thing that you haven't done.
Exactly. You honestly, people will realize that the biggest mistake you can make is literally not follow your rules. Even if your plan's bad, you might as well follow
Yeah.
it because inconsistency leads to consistency. But if you're consistently inconsistent, you'll never have actual results that you can rely on. You know.
Mhm.
Um. So what's one mistake you'd avoid if starting over, other than let's say telling people you trade,
One
or not
mistake.
following your plan?
Yeah, I think I don't regret not backtesting because I'm kind of a believer in not believing backtesting. I don't really feel anything when I backtest. I need the live charts in front of me. So I think
I do.
what
I
I
just want to
would have
add to this. I do agree with this big time. I think people underestimate forward testing and they overestimate back testing. Forward testing is a lot better because it actually trains your eye to see the chart develop live and not just candles spawning. I don't know. Keep going. Sorry.
yeah. So to what I wish I would have known, I think when I started trading is risk management because I didn't even know about that as a concept when I first started trading. And once you understand risk management, I think that's the one of the most important, if not the most important part of trading. So learn risk management before you start trading.
It is the most important part of trading, and people don't know, but not don't know, but the thing that made me a lot more comfortable is having a non-fixed risk management. What I mean by that is that in, let's say, August, my risk is bigger than in December. Like in the summer months, my risk is lower. In December, my risk is lower. When the chart has been, if the higher time frame is in accumulation mode, my risk is lower. If the action's been foggy, I'm risking less. You need to be comfortable adapting your risk. And I'm not saying going from 5% risk to 1%, but you go from, let's say your normal risk is 1%, you drop it to 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. Just a little tweak when it's a little and a little less kind of like um probable, let's say, or the probability or the chart is not super clear to you. Honestly, you shouldn't trade the chart not clear to you, but if you lower your size, you'll come to realize that when the chart does look clear and you size up and you size into your trade as well, you can actually like take bigger contracts and you get those big wins, you'll start noticing that you need to start because when you first start, the first instinct as well is when you put your stop loss, you put your take profit, trade goes to your stop loss, you think, oh, I'll just extend my stop loss. No, you need to make your stop
Yeah.
loss tighter and you need to extend your TP. Nobody extends their TP. When trade hits their TP, they're super happy. But if your trade runs 200 points over, it's and I'm not saying leave your whole trade, but you can leave one contract running for that. And that's also a version of risk management that you need to implement and you need to practice and you kind of like put your effort into learning.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, my friend. Thank you, Antzz, for joining us.
Yeah.
And hopefully you enjoyed the first episode as much as I did. Hopefully the people at home enjoyed it too. And if you guys do want to get on the podcast, you could DM me on Discord or on YouTube. And other than that, if you have some last words to say, maybe.
Check out Ants Trades on YouTube. I'm there. I'm gonna try to be more consistent in 2026 and just keep on going, man. Profitability is there. We all know it's possible. Um, don't give up and follow your rules.
Yeah, follow your rules. We'll end it on that note. If you guys like the video, please like, comment, subscribe. Join the free Discord if you guys are interested in learning trading. I trade live every single day. If you guys do want to, catch a peep at how I trade, maybe if you see if you like it or not. And on that note, I will catch you guys later. Peace.